DayZ is not a game that will hold your hand through tutorials. When our survivor is sick, all we're given is a universal sick icon. So to properly diagnose the illness, it is left up to the player to figure out what the survivor's symptoms are and what actions led to the illness in the first place. Then, we must know how to treat the illness effectively. For new and experienced players alike, it can all be very overwhelming and confusing at times. That is why, by the end of this video, I promise that you'll have all the tools to recognize the 12 different ailments of DayZ, how to treat them quickly and effectively, and have the skills to prevent them from ever becoming a problem in the first place. To jump to a specific illness or section of this video, be sure to utilize the timestamps below. One other thing before we jump in, please note that some community servers have modded or even extreme medical systems. That said, this video is intended for Vanilla DayZ and is up to date as of patch 1.28. First and foremost, it is important to understand how the immune system in DayZ works. We have 4 critical values that make up our immune system: energy, thirst, temperature, and blood. Each one of these obviously has a value. Though you cannot see these values directly, imagine for a moment that you could see them. Add all 4 up, and then divide by 4, getting their average, which is your immunity percentage. Obviously, the higher the number, the better your immune system is. When you spawn in, your immunity is at 56%. An immunity level of 72% would make you immune to both the common cold and influenza. Then at 95%, you'll be immune to cholera and salmonella. Always remember that taking a multivitamin will instantly increase your immune system to 100% for 5 minutes, allowing you to eat and drink questionable things, such as raw animal meat or water from a pond or stream. Because of this, we consider the almighty multivitamin the wonder drug of DayZ. With that knowledge, let's talk about the common cold, our first illness in DayZ. The common cold is caused by your character being too cold for too long. To recognize when your survivor is cold, not only will your temperature be light or dark blue, your survivor will occasionally be rubbing themselves to warm up, shivering, or chattering their teeth. Also, the common cold can be transmitted from other sick survivors by being at least 3 meters from them. Eating or drinking consumables that have been contaminated by the sick survivor will also transmit the cold to you. This is true for most illnesses in DayZ. Even a blood transfusion from a sick survivor will transmit an illness to you. You'll know you'll have the common cold when your survivor will start sneezing, and you'll see the universal sick icon appear on your HUD. A cold can be treated by keeping your survivor warm, fed, and hydrated, allowing your immune system to take care of the rest of it. A multivitamin, or tetracycline, will treat the illness as well. If you cure the common cold, you will be immune to it for 15 minutes. If a common cold is not treated, it will progress to stage 2, influenza. You'll know your survivor has influenza when they start wiping sweat from their forehead, increasing coughing and sneezing frequency, and have blurry vision. At this point, it should be a priority to get a fire going and get your immune system up quickly, as you do not want this to progress to the next stage, pneumonia. If you don't have a way to naturally get your survivor's immune system up, again, you can take a multivitamin, which will increase your immune system to 100% once every 5 minutes, 4 to 6 times, or a tetracycline every 5 minutes, 3 to 5 times. One other note here is that codeine or morphine will suppress the symptoms of both the common cold and influenza for 5 minutes. And if you cure influenza, you'll be immune to it for 5 minutes. Stage 3, or pneumonia, is not where you want to be, but if you do get here, you will easily recognize it by the gasping and wheezing sounds your survivor will be making. You will also have 50% slower stamina regeneration and health loss. From full health, your survivor will die within 24 minutes if not treated. Worse over, the only way back at this point is tetracycline every 5 minutes, 1 to 2 times, and it will only regress it back to influenza. At this point, it may be best just to stash your loot and run back, as your chances are quite slim. Also, at stage 3, codeine and morphine no longer suppress any symptoms. Ultimately, the best prevention you can do against the common cold, flu, and pneumonia is to keep your immune system up by staying warm, fed, and hydrated. You can also wear a variety of masks or helmets to prevent the transmission from another survivor, but more about that later. And always be aware of the food and drink you're consuming, as it could be contaminated from another survivor. Next up is one of the most common ways a new player dies: the wound infection. Stage 1 wound infection is caused from using non-disinfected items to cure a bleed. If you use a non-disinfected bandage, you will have a 5% chance to infect the wound. Non-disinfected rags, bandanas, and shamogs have a 15% chance to infect, and a non-disinfected sewing kit has a 30% chance. Also, if you let a wound close on its own, you will have a 40% chance to receive the wound infection. To know if you have a wound infection, your survivor will have blurry vision, mild pain and grunting, and 50% reduced stamina regen. Stage 1 wound infections can quickly be treated with disinfectant spray, alcohol tincture, iodine, or alternatively with tetracycline. A wound infection will progress to stage 2 if left untreated, and your survivor will have increased blurry vision, louder pain and grunting, fever, shaky hands, water loss, and HP loss, leaving you dead after just 40 minutes from full health. At stage 2, the wound infection can only be cured with tetracycline every 5 minutes 3 to 4 times. To prevent this from ever happening in the first place, keep your bandages safe in a container, such as a teddy bear, a frying pan, or even the pouches on your plate carrier, where they can never become damaged. Also consider not placing your bandage on your hotbar, as this does not allow you to visually see if the bandage is disinfected or not. The next illness is salmonellosis, or commonly known as Salmonella. This is most often caused from eating or drinking from bloodied hands, likely from cutting up an animal or a dead survivor. Excluding fish, eating any raw animal meat, fat, or guts will also result in contracting Salmonella. Even when cooked, wolf or bear meat also has a 60% chance of contracting the disease. Lastly, receiving a blood transfusion from a survivor that has Salmonella will also cause your survivor to contract it as well. Symptoms include vomiting after eating or drinking, resulting in food and water loss, light pain and grunting, and blurry vision. If you do contract Salmonella, be sure to eat very slowly as the disease limits your stomach size, so only eat 1 to 2 bites or sips every few minutes to prevent vomiting. Salmonella can be treated with 1 to 3 charcoal tablets every 5 minutes, 1 multivitamin, or maintaining a high immunity for 40 minutes. A combination of these can be used for quicker recovery. Also be aware that Salmonella can linger in your system even after the symbol goes away, so it's considered best practice to take 1 extra multivitamin or charcoal tablet just for good measure. To prevent Salmonella, don't eat with bloodied hands and put on gloves, as this fully removes the risk even if the gloves are fingerless, or just wash those dirty hands. Also make sure to know where your food is coming from and make sure you cook all your meat prior to consuming. If you're in an emergency situation, however, be sure to take the Mighty Multivitamin, as this will increase your immunity to 100% for 5 minutes, making you immune to Salmonella. In DayZ, cholera is a similar disease to Salmonella, but is contracted by drinking infected water in ponds, rivers, stagnant water sources, and water found in spawn containers at a 50% infection chance. Your survivor could also contract cholera from an infected survivor by sharing their food or drink, or taking a blood transfusion from their blood. If contracted, your survivor will show symptoms including fever, recognized by the wiping of sweat animation, vomiting after eating or drinking, which results in further food and water loss, and progressive dehydration. If contracted, and with the risk of vomiting, only take 2 to 3 bites or drinks of food and water to prevent further vomiting. Cholera can be cured by taking 2 to 5 tetracycline pills every 5 minutes, or 2 to 8 multivitamins every 5 minutes, or just combine them for faster recovery. Just like Salmonella, cholera can linger in the system, so it's considered best practice to take 1 more pill after the sickness symbol has disappeared. To prevent cholera from ever becoming an issue, always know where your water has come from. Only drink from water pumps on Chernobyl or Livonia, and natural springs on Sakal found around each map. When you find water in a new container, empty its contents, as it could be infected. If you do need to fill your container with potentially contaminated water, be sure to purify it with water using a chlorine tab, chelating tab, or boiling the water prior to consuming. Again, if you're in an emergency situation, take a multivitamin prior to drinking unknown or dangerous water, as your immunity will be at 100%, making you immune to the disease. One other thing to take note of is that you can contract both Salmonella and cholera at the same time by drinking contaminated water with bloodied bare hands. You could also prevent contracting these diseases by becoming a Giga Chad by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But for real though, we are really trying to reach 1,000 subscribers this year, and any support is much appreciated. Next up is poisoning, which is not as common, but you should still know about it and how to treat it. Poisoning is when your survivor consumes rotten, burnt, or unknown food, eats raw fish, or drinks gasoline. Your survivor will begin vomiting frequently, resulting in fast loss of food and water, and fatigue with 50% lower stamina regen. There are 2 cures for poisoning: consuming charcoal tablets every 5 minutes until gone, or by waiting it out and letting your immune system handle it. The higher your immune system is, the faster recovery will come. That means taking a multivitamin increases the processing rate of poison. Also, as your survivor vomits, they will reduce the poisoning level as well. This, however, cannot be self-induced by overeating or drinking. As of patch 1.27, tetracycline no longer reduces the recovery time, where charcoal tablets were made an effective cure for poisoning. Prevention here is basic. Don't consume rotten, burnt, raw fish, or unknown food, and for the love of God, please don't drink gasoline. Now for the fan favorite, brain prion disease, or more commonly known in DayZ as Kuru. Simply put, if you eat any human steak, fat, or guts, be it cooked or raw, you will immediately contract brain prion disease. This disease is easily recognizable by your survivor laughing uncontrollably. You will also have shaky and jittery hands while aiming down sight. There is no cure for Kuru. Only death will cure this disease. However, it is easily preventable. Never eat any human meat of any kind. Be aware of all fat, no matter whether it's animal or human, because they all look the same. So if you don't know where the fat came from, don't eat it, unless you're into that kind of a thing. A hemolytic reaction is when your survivor receives a blood transfusion that contains blood that's not compatible with their own type. If the blood is not compatible from the blood transfusion, your survivor will go unconscious immediately after the transfusion is complete. There will be a loss of 1,166 milliliters of blood over 3 minutes throughout the hemolytic reaction. There is no way to stop or cure this blood loss, but it will stop on its own after 3 minutes. To prevent a hemolytic reaction from happening, use a blood test kit so you know your own blood type, and be sure that the blood type in the bag is compatible with your own. To do this, you may have to use a blood test kit on the blood bag as well. Note that O negative can give their blood to anyone, and AB positive can receive blood from anyone. Also, if a survivor has used a blood test kit prior to filling the bag, the blood bag will be marked with the contents of the type. If this does happen to you, be sure to use a saline bag to recover your blood more quickly. And then lastly, know that if the blood is contaminated with another illness, you will also contract that sickness as well. Next is arguably the deadliest disease in DayZ, the dreaded toxic poisoning. There are 3 stages to toxic poisoning that happen in rapid succession. We will explore these as if the survivor is not wearing any protective gear, meaning no NBC gear, and no gas mask with an active filter. Stage 1 will start as soon as you enter the toxic gas, but be aware that the sickness icon will not show up until stage 2. Your survivor will start coughing immediately and will receive a new bleed every 15 seconds. Toxic poisoning is gained relative to the number of cuts a survivor has at any given time in addition to the inhalation. That said, after 25 seconds of exposure to the gas, stage 2 will begin and the sickness icon will appear. The survivor will continue to receive a new bleed every 15 seconds. In addition, the survivor will be coughing up blood, recognizable by the bloodied hands if the survivor is not wearing gloves. Vomiting up blood will also begin to occur as it will be an obvious red color. Then, after 80 seconds of exposure, stage 3 will begin and you will immediately be knocked unconscious and lose 3 health every second until you're dead. To cure toxic poisoning, you will need a pox antidote. However, this only works in stage 1 or 2. What works every time, however, is 1 to 4 blood transfusions from a healthy and compatible survivor. Prevention is most simply staying out of these gas zones until your survivor has a full NBC loadout, including a gas mask and active filter. Further, know where the gas zones are on your map and listen for gas strikes. Stay on your toes and run out of gas zones ASAP. As of patch 1.28, be aware that there's a bug that some gas zones on your map may be invisible, so hopefully Bohemia gets this fixed very soon. Also keep in mind that a full NBC set including the hood, jacket, gloves, pants, and boots must be worn to prevent bleeds, and the gas mask with an active filter must be worn to prevent inhaling the gas and coughing. Next is DayZ's newest type of disease, heavy metal poisoning, which as of patch 1.28 is exclusive only to Sakal on vanilla. This is a progressive disease started by a survivor eating snow or drinking from the hot springs of Sakal. Stage 1 symptoms include water loss and the shivers. If not treated, progression to stage 2 will include water loss, pain and grunting, blurry vision, random deafness, and fatigue resulting in 50% stamina regen. Lastly, stage 3 will introduce distorted vision, vomiting, and health loss in addition to the stage 2 symptoms. To cure heavy metal poisoning, have an active chelating tablet in your system for 2 minutes to cure stage 1, 4 minutes to cure stage 2, and 10 minutes to cure stage 3. Prevention is pretty easy here as well. Just don't eat the snow or drink from the hot springs on Sakal. Rather, use a filtering bottle that will purify the water fully. Lastly, note that boiling the water will not remove heavy metal poisoning like it does with cholera. Last on the list is a broken leg or fracture, and is relatively common. This can happen in a number of ways, including excessive fall damage, a bear trap or landmine, a shot to the leg, or high melee damage to the leg. When this happens, you'll hear a crunch of the bone breaking, and your survivor will likely pass out. You will also see the broken leg icon appear on your HUD. Your survivor will be moving slowly, limping, moaning from the pain, and will pass out from the pain if you don't walk by holding left control and W on PC, or lightly with the left stick on Xbox and PS4. Your survivor needs time for the leg to heal, so crafting a splint is your best way. You will need 2 sticks and a full bandage, or 4 rags to craft a splint. Once applied, healing time is halved to 15 minutes versus the 30 minutes without a splint. Further advantages to the splint are that your survivor will be able to jog and vault small garden fences without passing out, but you will not be able to run or jump high fences. Codeine will allow your survivor to take a few extra steps before passing out, or use a morphine for unlimited steps for 1 minute. To prevent your leg breaking, never jump from high places, and watch out for landmines or bear traps. One last note is the pain foot indicator. There are 3 levels to this, and if it exceeds the 3rd level, you will receive a broken leg. This will decrease back to normal over time. In this next section, I will go over all of the various medical items in DayZ and their uses. All of these items can be found at various medical locations around all 3 maps, including clinics, hospitals, and static or dynamic ambulances. All of these items are sectioned out for faster discovery. First up are bandaging items, which include the bandage, rag, sewing kit, shamog, and bandana. All of these items can be used to stop a bleed, but you should make sure these items are disinfected prior to bandaging. Otherwise, you will run the risk of receiving a blood infection. Lastly, if you didn't know, both the bandana and shamog are both completely silent while bandaging. This is great for those PvP situations where you need to be quiet. Next is cleaning or disinfecting items: alcohol tincture, disinfectant spray, and iodine. These 3 items can be used to disinfect any bandage, bandana, rag, sewing kit, or shamog. These items are also used to treat stage 1 wound infection for 1 minute and 40 seconds per application. The various pills and tablets are next and all have different uses. Let's go over these one by one. Charcoal tablets are used to treat salmonella and poisoning, as well as refill both types of gas mask filters. They stack to 12 and last 5 minutes. Chelating tablets and chlorine tabs both purify water and make them safe to drink. However, chelating tablets also treat water that might contain heavy metal poisoning from Sakal, making it safe to drink. Chelating tablets also treat a survivor suffering from heavy metal poisoning. Chelating tablets stack to 20 and last 5 minutes, or chlorine tabs stack to 12. Codeine is used to allow a player to run faster when low on health. You can also walk 25% further on a broken leg without passing out, and it suppresses coughing and sneezing from the common cold and influenza, stacking to 12 and lasting 5 minutes. The almighty multivitamin treat the common cold, influenza, salmonella, and cholera. It boosts the survivor's immunity to 100%, allowing you to eat and drink questionable things. Stacks to 50 and lasts 5 minutes. Tetracycline pills are used to treat the common cold, influenza, pneumonia, and wound infection. They stack to 12 and last 5 minutes. Next is the auto-injectors included in DayZ. The first is an epinephrine auto-injector, which gives the survivor unlimited stamina for 1 minute, and will immediately wake up an unconscious survivor. The morphine auto-injector is used to allow a player to sprint as normal when low on health, walk on a broken leg without passing out, and suppresses coughing and sneezing from the common cold and influenza. Lasts 1 minute. The pox antidote will immediately cure stage 1 and stage 2 toxic poisoning. The blood bag is used to collect 500 milliliters of blood from a survivor. The saline bag will regenerate 500 milliliters of blood and 350 milliliters of water over 3 minutes. Both a filled blood bag and saline bag need to be combined with an IV start kit to become usable by a survivor. For the blood bag, it is important to know what the blood type is of its contents. Otherwise, the receiving survivor could suffer from a hemolytic reaction as a result of incompatible blood. A survivor can use a blood test kit on themselves to know their blood type, which will show on the player's HUD. If a player's blood type is known prior to filling a blood bag, the blood bag will be marked with the type of blood. If the blood type is not known, then the blood bag will not be marked. However, a survivor can use a blood test kit on the blood bag to discover the blood type of its contents. Lastly is a few miscellaneous items that don't really fit into any specific grouping. The filtering bottle is used to make any water or snow clean and good to drink, also removing any heavy metal poisoning of Sakal. The first aid pouch is a container that spawns containing a bandage, blood bag, blood test kit, IV start kit, and sometimes even a saline bag or medical thermometer. The medical thermometer is used to show the current temperature of the survivor. If the temperature is 38.5 or higher, the survivor is suffering from a fever. This is shown on the player's HUD next to the temperature icon after using the thermometer. The splint is used to heal a broken leg 50% faster than without a splint. Further, the survivor will be able to jog and vault small garden fences, but will not be able to sprint or jump larger fences. Lastly is the heat pack. When activated, it will provide 80 degrees centigrade of heat for 20 minutes. Place it in your jacket or pants to receive the benefit. After 20 minutes, it is used up and the heat pack will be ruined. In this final part, I will go over the various protective gear focusing on medical protection, not combat protection such as a plate carrier. I will go over what they are, what they're used for, and where to find them. First up is masks and helmets. Beyond combat reasons, masks and helmets can help or fully prevent the transmission of the common cold, influenza, and pneumonia to other survivors if social distancing of at least 3 meters is not possible. Items that partially prevent spread include the dust mask, balaclava, ski mask, surgical mask, mime mask, OKZK cap, winter coif, great helm, and the burlap sack worn over the head. Most of these items can be found all around any of the maps in residential areas. The dust mask and burlap sack are found in industrial areas and garden sheds, and the great helm is found in hunting locations. The only item that fully prevents spread is a gas mask. Gas masks and standard filters can be found in any medical location or event, fire stations, and military areas. Standard filters can also drop off infected wearing NBC gear. The improvised filter is crafted using a plastic water bottle and a dust mask, and then you refill it with charcoal tablets to make it active. The standard filter will last 10 minutes from full, where the improvised will last 5 minutes. Gas masks can be used to prevent the spread of the common cold, influenza, and pneumonia, but most commonly, gas masks and filters are used in conjunction with the full NBC gear to enter toxic zones such as Riffy on Chernobyl. Lastly, let's quickly talk about NBC gear. NBC gear can be found in medical location or events, fire stations, or military areas. A full NBC set, which includes a hood, jacket, gloves, pants, and boots, when combined with a gas mask and active filter, will fully protect the survivor in a gas zone, allowing you to access some of the best gear DayZ has to offer. To assist you further, I created a medical guide in JPEG format for you to download that goes over all the illnesses, causes, symptoms, cures, and notes that we went over in this video. You can find a link to this guide in the description below. Please feel free to download it and use it so you never die of a disease in DayZ again. But that's it, everyone. I truly hope this DayZ medical guide will help you in all your future adventures. If you learned something, please give the video a thumbs up, as this will help push the video into the algorithm so others can find this information too. If you do like this type of video and want to see other adventures or long-form content, or even a live stream, please consider subscribing. We are really trying to push to the 1,000 subscriber mark this year, and any support is massively appreciated. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any corrections or additions to future iterations of this tutorial. And if you want to see a story about how I almost died to one of these diseases, I think you'll like the video on the screen now. Check it out. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.